What up? I want to talk about The Last of Us after last night's episode. So I don't really know how else to prep this video except I'm going to be talking about the game. I'm going to be talking about the overall story so far. So obviously, if you're not caught up, don't watch this. And if you haven't played the game, I'm going to be spoiling everything. I want to talk about my predictions of what's going to happen. So now that I thought about this since the end of the first episode, and now we're in episode 4. Episode 4 just finished last night. There's only 7 episodes for this season, and episode 4 says Seattle day 1. Now, if you remember from the game, there's 3 days, and everything kind of leads up to this climax where we then have the go back in time event that happens when you play Abby. And what I find interesting is we know who Abby is at this point in the show. All right, now I'm talking from somebody who knows both the game and now who's watching the show. Most people who don't play the game don't know the nuances of what's happening in regards to Abby, Ellie, Tommy. Dina's part just got revealed about her being pregnant. The Seraphites as well. Isaac got introduced. I'm sidetracking there, but what I was finding interesting about the show was how were they going to try to show the same story, but not through the game mechanics, but now through cinema. And we figured out who Abby was from the very, very beginning, first episode. When you play the video game, Abby's story, we don't know anything about her until we finish day 3 with Ellie. Then we go back in time and we play Abby's 3 days, right? And we know now that it looks like every day is going to be an episode. And if there's only 7 episodes this season, episode 4 is day 1, then I guess that means we're going to see the next 3 days span out in those episodes. That tells me what I was already predicting, that season 2 is just going to be half of The Last of Us Part 2. And then the second half of the game is going to be season 3, which gives Naughty Dog enough time to maybe get more of part 3 out there. And as gamers, we can play the game. I don't know if they're going to do the Game of Thrones approach and kind of branch off. I'm not sure where that's all going, because things in the show were announced based off of things that we didn't know in the game, like how is Ellie immune, right? But I'm so convinced, I'm so adamant this season's going to end with the climax of Abby having the gun pointed at Tommy, right? And she's just like, I let you all live. And for what you wasted it, right? And that's how it's gonna end. She's gonna point the gun and like, we let you live. And it's gonna end, right? I'm calling it now. I called it at the end of the first episode of season 2. I'm like, I think that's how it's gonna end. Especially seeing how short the season is. And I didn't know if they were going to do creative liberties of doing their own thing from the game. It looks like a lot of the stuff is saying tried and true to the game, just introduced differently. But we haven't seen anything about Abby in episode 4. So maybe we're just going to see Ellie's point of view coming out through the next couple days for those Seattle days. So for those next episodes, we'll just see Ellie and no Abby, which kind of frustrates me then. I don't know why we were introduced, if that's true. I don't know why we were introduced to Abby the way we were through these channels on the cinema side. If we're just going to do everything on Ellie's point of view, then I feel like they should have stuck to the game's mechanics of it and just let us watch everything through Ellie's perspective and not understand why Joel was killed the way that he was killed. But I liked last night's episode for what it was, mainly because Isaac, his introduction, what I knew was going to happen because he was announced in the trailer and stuff like that. The same voice actor who did the mocap for Isaac in the video game is the same actor who is playing Isaac in the game. It's one of the very few rare occasions where they use the exact same person from the game and now the show. And this guy's a phenomenal actor. He's amazing. I was introduced to him on HBO through Westworld. He was my introduction to who this actor was. But I mean, since then he's done many other great things, Batman, all that stuff. This guy's a great actor, so it was cool to see it. The thing with Josh Peck threw me off because when I look at Josh Peck, I think of Drake and Josh. But that whole opening scene was awesome. It felt like such an Isaac thing to put that twist in there. And it's cool to see more backstory, like the whole why are they called voters thing. It's just it's cool, like lore building. I appreciate it for what it is. But my issue with this season, I would say, is that everything is feeling rushed, and I don't want it to feel rushed. I hope I'm wrong in that assessment. I know some things are worth letting go of from a cinema stance as opposed to playing the video game where it's more immersive. So I let go of a bunch of the world building elements I'm the type of guy who likes, when I play a game, especially a story driven game, I like to up, down, left, right, everything. I like to look at everything in the game and appreciate it. That's why I love Red Dead for that exact, open world. And Last of Us is an open world, but I like games that you could take your time and really appreciate the details that go into it and find Easter eggs and stuff like that. But in cinema, you can't really do all that the same way. So I can let go of a lot of that stuff. And even though it's a two-part, the part 2 looks like it's going to play out in 2 seasons, maybe 3. I don't know. I feel it's still being rushed. I can get behind different nuances showing the town hall and how people vote, or the fact that Jackson got attacked from the previous episodes. All that stuff makes total sense. But now we're entering the days in Seattle. It feels distracting. It feels distracting because I know where, at least I'm calling it, how the season's gonna end. And now I'm like, then why did we show Abby now? You know what I mean? But the coolest thing I would say from watching last night was actually the trailer of what's happening next week. As we're recording this, it's Monday. So we haven't seen episode 5 yet, but they showed that now they're finally doing the spores in the air, right? It's the infection, the cordyceps are adapting, and it gets out there, right? That's kind of sick. I saw why they didn't want to do that from the beginning in the first season, because what works good in game mechanics doesn't work good on cinema, about always having to wear a mask and all that stuff. I totally get it. But if you know how these characters get picked off, the whole point that when she gets trapped and Ellie takes off the mask and she's like, I'm not gonna die, and the other girl starts choking. I was thinking, how's that gonna work if these people can be around them without wearing a mask? Well, now it looks like the infection is getting so contagious that it's now airborne. So I kind of like that element. But then again, I kind of wish that was kind of shown. I wish Dina found out about Ellie that way then, just like in the game where the mask cracks and Ellie gave Dina her mask instead of the whole biting thing. But I mean, it's fine. I mean, the bite is another way of showing it, but that's actually one of the things that I kind of liked more in the game, where it was rushed. You can just move on. Hey, look, I'm not infected. I'm not choking. Oh my God, you are immune. And then, all right, move on. Instead, it was this whole I have to shoot you. And we know she's not. So it just, all I'm thinking about is this is wasted time. We have precious time we have to use, but I'm also looking at it from the stance of somebody who played the game, not who's watching it for the first time. So, I mean, as I tell people, this is what it feels like to, I guess, I've read the books of Game of Thrones. I know how all this is going to play out. I'm still invested. We all know, most of us know, that it was never about Joel. And we were all wondering how this was going to handle the Joel situation. Some of us wanted to see Joel make it to the very end of the season. Maybe they kept him alive longer. Ultimately, he needs to die. For Ellie to go on this path and for her to face those consequences, and which is why I even like more of the like showing her play the guitar, because we know what that symbolizes near the end. Even when you play the epilogue, or is it prologue? No, it's epilogue. Epilogue is the posting. So, you know, Ellie playing the guitar is symbolic. And so we got that last night. Cool. And I just hope that from what I remember in the games and how the show plays out, I just hope we don't waste so much time in between that some of the stuff gets a bit muddied and we forget. Like, how many people remember the coffee bean thing and why she even put the coffee beans on Joel's grave? Like, if you don't remember the nuances of it or why that's important because of a moment in season 1, like that's my only issue about like maybe dragging some stuff out. But anyway, I really wanted to talk about this because my prediction is season 2 is going to be the first half of the game. It's going to end with Abby she kills Jesse and then has the gun at Tommy. Well, Tommy, you know, he becomes crippled, but you know, it ends with the whole like, I gave you guys, we let you live and you wasted it, and then it ends with Jesse dying, right? And that's the end of season 2. That's my prediction. And then season 3 will be, I guess, everything from Abby's point of view, and we'll be like, why do we give a shit? And yeah. I would like to see the Santa Barbara events play out more in depth, because if you know, Santa Barbara was supposed to, in the game, was a longer aspect, and the game, that part kind of got cut, I think, for like time restrictions and stuff like that, about trying to meet deadlines of releasing the game. So I wanted to see that as a DLC. Didn't happen. So maybe what I really wanted to see happen in Santa Barbara can play out in one of the seasons, even if it's just half the season. That would be nice to see, and that would be something new even from the people who play the game. Okay, those are my thoughts. Am I crazy? Share yours. Bye.